What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode here on Infinite Takes. It is Tuesday. I almost said it's Monday. It is Tuesday, so you know what that means. We're here with another Monday Night Raw review. Let's get right into this episode. We start the show with Nia Jax and Jey Uso entering the ring. Obviously not together because they're not a thing. But they're entering the arena and they have some big matches coming up. Jay versus Drew, the main event, and Nia versus Becky Lynch later on tonight. We basically opens the show with a promo, as you know. Let's get right into it. I like when they just get right into it. Don't waste no time. Don't start the show with a match. Sometimes I do like when they start the show with a match, but usually I don't. Just being honest. Cody starts the show by saying he wants to talk about the main event match against Roman Reigns, but he can't because he has a distraction. He has a Rock distraction. But he says The Rock actually never answered his question. The Rock did like The Rock does, the mass politician he is. He, you know, kind of just reversed the question or just, mixed and construed what he did. He's basically saying The Rock avoided what he was asking just to flip it on himself. Because The Rock told him that nobody wants to see Roman versus Cody again. They want to see Roman versus Rock. Which, that's super funny that he said that. Like, it's super funny that The Rock would even say some shit like that. He brings out Seth to, get an answer from him. But he tells Seth that he understands that he has a match with Drew, and if he wouldn't want to compete in a not compete, if he doesn't want to help him because he's preoccupied with Drew, Cody completely understands. Seth basically reiterates what he said. Basically last week in the past 2 weeks that you have to start the bloodline is bigger than anything else. He basically said I'll handle Drew and I'll also handle the bloodline with you. Seth then says something pretty interesting. He tells Cody it's not only about your story, it's about my story too. Didn't even know Seth had a story to like come into this shit, but apparently Seth has a fucking story. All right. He says that coming into the WWE about 10 years ago with Roman Reigns. I'm not gonna mention the other person that came in with too, which is funny. But coming into the WWE with Roman Reigns, he said they came in wanting to take the power from the top and give it to the fans, but now Roman today, within the past few years, just wants to keep the power for himself. And with the addition to the Rock's bloodline, he's inching to get closer to that. He's so close to just doing exactly that. He says it's a little 50-50. He says I have a new name for the Rock. I have a new name for I don't know why I sounded like that when I said that. He says I have a new name for the Rock. His new name is Diarrhea Dwayne, and I'm not gonna lie. I think that's very. It's like when you're not the Rock and you say corny things, it doesn't sound the same. But like I definitely understand the point of like if the Rock said this, people would just absolutely stomach laugh this knee slapper. Oh my God, The Rock is so funny. How does he keep doing? Yeah, I kind of see that point of it, but it's like I said when you're not The Rock and you do these things, just like they just don't sound the same. But I could see the point. I could see the point. Seth says The Rock hasn't been cool in 20 years, which I guess yeah. In WWE, I think I said that. I think I did say that in one of my first episodes. I said it's like it's not 20 years ago. You can't keep doing the same shit, which I agree with him. And he Seth also announces that he has been officially cleared to compete in in-ring competition. So this week on Friday Night SmackDown, he will be there to confront The Rock face to face. And Cody basically says the same thing, that he'll also be there to confront The Rock and Roman face to face. So this Friday, we have a big SmackDown of, you know, hopefully everybody's going to be there. Rock, Roman, Cody, and Seth, they just announced. And that's basically the end of the promo. Big time energy. They're both hype. That's what I like to see. It's just, you know, that was a good promo though. It was a good promo. I didn't have many like bad takeaways. Obviously, the diarrhea stuff was like, uh, I get it, but moving on. Opening match, first match of the night, Dom versus Gunther. This was set up last week when what happened last week? Oh yeah, it was a Judgment Day Imperium thing, and this felt like it was I don't know, a Gunther face turn in a sense. This whole Judgment Day Imperium thing is interesting because obviously coming into this feud, both heels, right? Like Gunther heel, Imperium heel, Judgment, everybody Judgment Day, maybe outside of Rhea heel, but maybe she still kind of is a heel. I don't really know what that Rhea situation is. She seems still heelish. Entire match, Dom just tries chopping Gunther like repeatedly. He really tries chopping him, and it never works. Like not even once. It's like every time Dom would try to chop Gunther, Gunther will come back with a more vicious chop. Gunther ends up chasing Dom around the ring. He runs into JD. He like kind of pushes JD. JD hits the post, and then he kind of tries to chop JD. Then he misses. They play into like a little wrist injury. It's not like obviously a serious thing, but they kind of try to play into it, but to no avail. JD distracts Gunther again. Dom then dives onto Gunther, which, gives Dom the upper hand for a little bit of the match right there. Dom ends up going for a 619 at one point in the match and then gets hit with a monster fucking clothesline. And then a little bit later in the match, Dom ends up trying to go for another 619. He ends up hitting it, which obviously my criticism of the 619 is I kind of see that as like the criticism it gets from me is that it's slow, but you have to remember a lot of taller people are doing the 619 half the time that I mentioned that just looks slow. Like I remember one time like Cesaro did it a couple times. I'm like, oh, this just it looks decent, but like your legs are too long. You're like running the ropes a little too slow. Um, yeah, that's kind of my only criticism of it. Like it's slow, but I understand why it's slow because these people are taller and like when Rey Mysterio does it, he's short and kind of fast and could just bounce off the ropes and just really hit it. Goes for a frog splash and he misses, and then Gunther hits that shotgun drop kick, puts him in a Boston Crab, and picks up the win pretty decisively. It was a like I didn't feel like Gunther absolutely dominated this match. I feel like Dom got appropriate I want to say heat back in the match, but yeah, it felt like it was obviously a dominant showing of Gunther, but it wasn't just like a fucking squash match. Which Pierce runs into Damage Control backstage, asks what they're doing there. Dakota Kai tells them they're the tag team champs. They have the privilege of being on basically all three shows, which she is definitely right about that. Like tag champs should be able to do that. And then she just basically their scouting competition. Nakamura walks by and tells Adam Pearce that I don't think he tells him anything. He just says Pearce, and then Pearce kind of knows what he wants. He's like, this is you're most likely coming from to me for the IC, title. Talk about that. He says he has a very big announcement about that tonight, and he'll be making that very shortly. And next match we have is Katana Chance and Caden Carter. I just called him Cater and Chance versus Baszler and Stark. I feel like we've seen this match time and time again. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't think I like um, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Carter and Chance hit like a double Spanish fly, which I thought should be a finisher. Was not, which is a spot. Carter and Chance hit the after party, which is a pretty cool move. Um, I actually forgot how it's set up. I was gonna explain how it's set up, but I forgot. Shayna then pulls out whoever was pinning, and then the other person comes in. Shayna pulls her out the ring, gets her in the almost like coquina clutch. It's not what it is. It's Karafuda clutch. Karafuda clutch gets her in the Karafuda clutch, and then the whoever the partner was tries to save them from getting like pulled out the ring, and then Zoe Starks rolls up, and then 1, 2, 3, Zoe and Shayna win the damn match. I didn't think it was really nothing to this match. It was okay. You got where you need to go. You beat former tag team champs. It establishes you as number one contender, even though you have been the number one contender since like before Elimination Chamber. I feel like, and we're like 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, and you're still not getting a match. But that gets set up here. Um, After the match, Dakota Kai comes in the ring and congratulates Zoe and Shayna. Dakota tells Shayna and Zoe that tomorrow night they will be defending the tag team champions against someone at NXT. They didn't even say who. I don't remember who. I don't really watch NXT right there. I kind of catch highlights and hear about it, through whatever. They face someone on NXT tomorrow, well today technically, and after they win, next week on Raw, they will defend the tag team champs against Shayna and um, Zoe. I'm like, who am I thinking? I almost said Shayna and Baszler. Like, I don't know who I'm thinking about. Sometimes I do like when they do these things, but I don't like it because it makes this NXT match pointless. Like, they're going to retain. Kama is in the training room receiving medical attention for his match with Gunther. Getting some work done on his chest, I guess. Getting some icing or whatever. Damien tells Judgment Day that they'll make things right with Imperium by, beating them tonight. And then Damien tells JD that he'll make things right with Gunther. And then Andrade walks in and tells Dom, see you later, and literally walks back out. It's not like he was already in there or he was in there for a certain amount of time. Like, oh, hey, how are you, Dom? How's your chest? Hope you're feeling better. No, he just walked in and said, hey, see you later, and walked out. I'm like, okay, that's the interactions with them sometimes are like very quick and sporadic and whatever. But Dom then tells us one day, like, oh, keep an eye out for him. He could be useful for us down the line. And then we get a very all important match, but in my opinion, it was a little predictable the way this match was going to go. To me, I think if you watch enough, you could be like, oh, I see where this match is going. Nia versus Becky. Becky hits like a baseball side to the outside, hitting Nia out the ring. Well, she's already out the ring, but she's hitting her um, out the ring, like I said. And then Nia hits, and she tries to like dive on Nia, Nia catches her, and then Nia hits like a nasty Samoan drop. A very nasty sounding Samoan drop. Not like, I don't know, it just sounded like a thud. And I was like, ooh, splat. Nia pushes Becky off the top rope and then hits her with a middle rope leg drop, which is like I said, when Nia does certain moves, I'm typically concerned for her opponent every time though. Like, with bigger wrestlers like Mabel or a Mark Henry, or like, Mark Henry's pretty safe in his career, but just talking about bigger wrestlers, when they hit certain moves, I'm just like, yo, that might really hurt. I'm sure all these moves hurt, but I'm like, because history, Mabel injured plenty of people in his career, plenty of people. Kevin Nash and Undertaker come to mind. Nia goes for Annihilator, misses Becky, then goes for a couple disarm hers. Nia kind of reverses it. Becky gets like a arm bar in, and kind of like goes to the outside with her still like trapped in it, then like swings her into the barricade, which pretty cool spot. Nia then puts her like back in the ring, and then out of nowhere, Liv attacks Nia, which doesn't make sense. It's like this is where the Liv character gets no slack from me. Like no, I can't cut you no slack. I can't be like, oh, this makes sense. She gets in the ring and then uh, Liv, that is, gets in the ring and then says something to Becky. Becky kind of like gets in her face. They start arguing, and then Nia drags both of them out the ring. Simone drops Becky into the post. Leg drops Liv, and she kind of walks out, kind of on top. It's why I just said it doesn't make sense for Liv because why did you attack Nia? You don't really have a problem with Nia. Like, just being honest, you don't have a problem with Nia at all. You feel like Becky, kind of stole your little spotlight last week when she interfered in your match, and you feel like it was really targeted towards you, even though it wasn't. I don't know. That just it doesn't make sense for Liv to do that. If anything, just straight up attack Becky since you feel that way. Since you still feel that way, actually, because I think we'll get into that a little bit later. Ricochet is on TV for the first time in what I feel like it's months. He really said he wants an opportunity to prove himself because he hasn't been getting an opportunity. Closed mouths don't get fed. Something like that. Adam Pearce says he'll put that in consideration when he makes the announcement tonight. And then Judgment Day walk in, and then Damian Priest tells Adam Pearce that JD wants Gunther. And Adam Pearce tells JD to do his pitch, and JD basically says, "I'll let my fighting do the talking." It was a weird promo because like in the middle of them saying that, the JD and not JD, the Judgment Day and Adam Pearce little situation right there, the feed just cut out, completely just cut out. I thought it was me, but no, it was like I watched this on multiple different things. I watched it twice. I watched it live and I watched it as I was reviewing it again. So yeah, that was it kind of just cut out, which I didn't understand. I was walking backstage. Becky confronts her, tells her when she did what she did. Becky is saying this. When she did what she did, it wasn't personal. It wasn't a attack on her. And when she did do what she did, she made sure Nia wasn't gonna get back up to attack her. And even though she apologized, Liv still took it personal. And he says, "Oh, you can't take it out." Liv says this. "Oh, you can't." The man could dish it out, but can't take it. Typical. And I'm like, I get it. Good line, but wrong situation because it's like Liv doesn't understand the point of you come back in the room when I'm 30, big entrance. They give you that big spotlight. You don't win the Rumble. Cool. You qualify the Elimination Chamber. You don't win a chamber either. Cool. But she has a case of being like, oh, I was in the Rumble. I came in 30, and then I almost won it. I was just close to winning it. True. Then she has another point of, I was one of the last women in Elimination Chamber. I almost won it again, which is true. But the point is almost. These are close situations where you didn't win it. It's like she's taking this all personal, and Becky just basically says she basically tells she wants to have a match with her next week, and she says, "My pleasure." Which I'm so over this Liv character because it's like she just is. I don't know. It's not a good look for her. If they somehow add her to the triple threat, I'm going to be very angry because this Becky versus Rhea thing writes itself. It's been building for over a year. It's like there's been no added elements to it. Not even faction stuff. Like the most you get is a Dom, and that's it. It's like literally we don't need nothing else other than Rhea and Becky. And it's just like Liv is like, what about me? What about you? Moving on. Adam Pearson announces next week it will be a gauntlet match to determine Gunther's challenger at WrestleMania, and the participants in this match are Sammy, JD, Ricochet, Shinsuke, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable. And those were some missing one more. And like I said, basically, whoever wins that gauntlet match will end up facing um, Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. In the next match, we have Andrade's debut match. It is versus Apollo Crews, a guy we haven't seen in, once again, months. Haven't seen him in months, and I wish, I kind of just wish he would feature a little bit more. Uh, I understand why this match went the way it did, because it's like you have a person who you're kind of putting stock in, and it's his return match, so you have to have, kind of have to put him over. In a way, I want him to be a more credible opponent, but I guess Apollo is credible in terms of what he's done. Like Apollo is a United States champion, former United States champion, former Intercontinental champion. Went to NXT, had a pretty good run at NXT. Like when he went back, uh, like last year or 2 years ago at this point, maybe. Yeah, Apollo Crews is a pretty formidable opponent when you look at it that way, but he just hasn't been on TV enough for people to really care. He came out, no reaction, honestly. Just didn't really do much. Um, but this match was pretty simple. They have, a light back and forth from the beginning, and then Andrade completely dominates the rest of the match. It goes in this order. Uh, Andrade hits three amigos, hits a spinning back elbow, or spinning elbow rather. I don't even know why I said back elbow. Hits the double knees in the corner, and then he hits his DDT. 1, 2, 3. Wins the match. Pretty standard. Nothing really to it. And a couple of times this match, it showed Judgment Day watching on the back to scout Andrade, and we'll see if this leads to anything next week. Hopefully, it leads to something. Same backstage interview. Typical Sammy backstage interview again. Says this is the opportunity he's been waiting for, and this gauntlet match is do or die for him. Because if he doesn't get this, there is literally no other path. This is the only path he has to get into the WrestleMania match that he needs. And then Ivar says that he knows he could beat Gunther, and Sammy knows that he can't beat Gunther. Very confusing in way this promo set up. It was just a way to set up a Ivar versus Sammy match later on tonight. It was Imperium versus Judgment Day. This match was kind of weird because, like I said, they kind of, in a way, I want to say presented Gunther as a face. At least the way I see it. I feel like that's the way I see. I see. I've. Can I speak? That's the way I felt in that match, that Gunther and Dom match. I feel like they presented him as a face, and then yeah, I don't think they Imperium sure himself was in the face. Cause I feel like at first the crowd was chanting for Imperium beginning this match, and then they weren't. I wrote down absolutely no notes in this. I just wrote down Imperium versus Judgment Day, and I was so caught off guard. I watched this match twice, and I was like, also caught off guard. I was like, they were cheering for Judgment Day. I was like, holy shit. They're actually they're cheering for Finn. They was hyped for a Damian Priest comeback spot. There was like a lot of shit was like, this is a weird match. Didn't write anything down. Judgment Day ended up winning though. That's what I will say. I mean, call it your way to watch it, but I have no notes for this. Drew backstage interview, he tells Jackie Redmond, or maybe Kathy Kelly, forget who it is, that he knows Seth won't listen. And he calls Seth a spotlight junkie. He's addicted to the spotlight. He tells her, like, basically, whatever's hot at the moment, Seth has to be attached to it. He said when CM Punk returned, that was a Seth thing. When Cody returned, that was a Seth thing. Rock returned, for some reason, it's a Seth thing. And he tells Jey Uso that all he wanted was an apology for him, but he'll apologize for him because uh, I forget why he even apologized. He did say I'm sorry for something, and then he tells Jay, I know you need this win, but there's no chance in hell you're beating me tonight. Rhea runs into Damage Control backstage and tells Io Sky to stay out of her territory. Io laughs and walks away. That was that. Him versus Ivar is next. Ivar throws Sammy out the ring, and then he I forget how he throws him out the ring. Maybe a clothesline of some sorts, or um, maybe he just tossed him out. I don't really remember how he got out the ring, but I remember Sammy for some reason is out the ring, and then he hits like a rolling senton. I don't really know what you call that move. And then he goes for a haluva kick, and then Sammy, and then Ivar kind of reverses just by sitting on him, like literally goes for a haluva kick and just sits on him. Funny comedy. He goes for dude salt. I think it's called Doom Salt, like Doomsday Salt or Doom. I don't know. It's something salt. You know what it is. I'm even confused what it's called at this point. He misses. Sammy hits a louver kick and picks up the W. Big win for Sammy, beating Ivar. And after the match, Bronson Reed comes out to attack Sammy, hits him with a tsunami. Setting up gauntlet implications for next week. There is backstage, and he basically congratulates Dom for stepping up, and that's basically all he congratulates him for, just stepping up. And he says the outcome was never in question. He always knew he was gonna beat Dom, which, yeah, yeah. Then he talks about the gauntlet. He says the gauntlet is a fields of stack competition, and he says as it should be, because he's elevated this title to heights that it has never seen before. And he says it doesn't matter who comes out on top in that gauntlet, that whoever wins it is basically earning an opportunity to be embarrassed at WrestleMania by him. And Chad Gable comes through, basically said what he's been saying for the past 2 weeks, or maybe past week. All I know, he said it too much. Something about his daughter crying, and then he's gonna make her smile. They're really setting up this Gunther versus Chad Gable at WrestleMania, which it'll be a good WrestleMania match. I hope he does win though, but this whole Chad Gable daughter reasoning why he won, yeah, whatever. Not really into it. And then we are here at that Drew and Jay match. I almost said Drew and Sammy. That was weeks ago. Jay dives onto Drew to the outside of the ring, puts him back in the ring, goes to the top, and then behind him, through the crowd, appears Solo Sikoa. Drew hits a future shot, kick out at 2. Cody comes down, starts fighting with Solo. They start going through the crowd. Drew then goes for a Claymore, not misses, but gets reversed into a couple super kicks, and then gets hit with a spear. Jay is about to go to the outside. Well, he kind of does go to the outside to go to the top turnbuckle, and then Jimmy appears through the crowd near the announce table. And he basically is just looking on to Jimmy. And when he turns around, he gets hit with a Claymore. Bang, 1, 2, 3. Drew wins. Drew is very protected in this in this recent run he's having, which once again I like. I'm not complaining about it. I really appreciate he's this protected. It makes it, you know, I feel like it makes it mean something. Makes it matter. And I like when superstars is this protected. Like Drew's very, very, very protected. Doesn't take a lot of losses. Um, Storylines make, anyways. Uh, Jimmy then grabs a chair, is about to enter the ring, and then Seth's music hits. Seth speed past Drew, walks into the ring, um, you know, beats up Jimmy for a little bit, and then Drew enters the ring, and then Claymore Seth. He says a few things to Seth that I couldn't really understand, which I would guess is him just saying like, you have to pay attention, you have to stay focused, because if you don't, you're gonna lose this title at WrestleMania. Which, like I said this last week, creates an interesting dynamic of Seth has an uphill battle for him, like a very uphill battle, because you're going to have this match with Roman and Rock with Cody, and then you're gonna have to face a scary man and Drew, and you're not gonna, especially coming off an injury, they're gonna play into that. So yeah, I feel like this was a very good Monday Night Raw. Um, like I said, I enjoyed it, loved it. It was the pacing was good. It wasn't at the pacing where Friday Night SmackDown was, where it felt like it flew by, but in a sense, in its own way, in a very 3 hour sense of wrestling, it did fly by. I enjoyed it. Like I said, there was a couple bad matches that I didn't like that women's tag match I didn't really enjoy, but for the most part, watchable TV. It progressed storylines. That's what you want out of your wrestling show. You want it to be watchable. You want it to progress storylines. You want it to, feel good. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Tell me what you thought in the comments. Follow my Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff in the description. But yeah, really just tell me if you did enjoy. Leave a like. House the channel a ton. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. See you guys on Saturday. Peace.